South African National Space Conference in 2024, and I'm delighted to see in the audience that there's not only the Space Agency or the Department of Science and Innovation, but also the Air Force and also all the industry players that are responsible for contributing to space in South Africa.
Thank you again, and let's meet next year again. Have a restful weekend, and those who are traveling back home, I wish you safe travels.
Today we are hosting the SAGO and the Space for National Development Symposium, which is currently co-hosted between the National Space Agency and the National Earth Observations and Space Secretariat.
We rise as we lift each other up.
We've brought in experts from academia, from the research agencies, NGOs, as well as from government entities. The whole idea is to take stock of where we are in terms of the implementation of the space program, but also looking at what the requirements are in terms of the future in driving the space program, as well as in shaping the future implementation plan for the National Space Program.
We normally say with space, the sky is the limit. But with space, even the sky is not a limit because we go to the outer space.
There's a lot of value to be had in in-person conversations, in the spontaneous responses to a presentation. And that's what we must start on, that spontaneity, that immediate ability to network. People come to these conferences that maybe we wouldn't interact with on a daily basis in our normal work, but they allow us to share our work with a broader range of people.
The importance of the conference really is a confirmation of the hard work that has been happening in the background, where the idea of this conference actually was conceived. And now, today, we see it actually happening in real time.
Today marks really another significant step in our quest for the implementation of a viable and sustainable space program.
Distinguished guests, today's conference echoes these sentiments and is appropriately themed Space for Inclusive Growth, which is premised on the powerful impact space has on addressing the wicked socioeconomic environmental challenges that plague our society.
We, as members of the defense, feel honored to be associated with a community that is transcending beyond innovation.
Space is not just about the distance between the planets and other things in the universe or in the cosmos. When we talk space, We are talking about matters of the economy.
Everyone is beginning to realize that scientific research is a matter of vital importance.
Department of Science and Innovation, we've always had a vision of rekindling the activities of space in South Africa.
The Department of Trade and Industry is charged with the responsibility to regulate space affairs in the country.
We have to look at how do we use space to make sure that we are protected in terms of the cyber domain.
Thank you for being such a sport to attending this conference. It has been a pleasure to host you.
It's been, I think, a very exciting week, having a very good program in front of us.
Not only did we showcase the capability by upgrading the rocket that was done by the University of KZN, but we also laid the foundation for the members of the youth.
I just want to thank all the organizers for this conference. They are doing such a marvelous job.
Today marks another huge milestone for the South African National Space Program. We are currently hosting the second National Space Conference, where we've seen a significant growth this year. This week is a very critical week for the South African National Space Program because we are hosting.
And welcome. My name is Fiki Samajola from the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation. And before we start, I would like us to settle down. Our choir is going to come in now, but I would like all our guests to kindly please stand so that the Chief of the Air Force can join us as well as the rest of the VIPs. Kindly stand. Thank you. My apologies, colleagues. We're just getting a bit of a stretch. So please have a seat, and then we'll rise again in a moment. Sorry about that. Let's try that again. I'd like to now ask colleagues to kindly stand so that the Chief of the Air Force and the rest of the VIPs might join us. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. You may be seated. So good morning once again. As I've introduced myself, my name is Fikiswa. Majola from the DSTI, and it's my privilege to welcome you all to our third National Space Conference under the theme Space for Societal Resilience, Transformation and Intelligence. This opening session will focus on resilient and inclusive societies, and it reminds us that space is not just distant and abstract, but rather quite woven in our daily lives, from the GPS that some of us used to come to the ICC this morning, to satellites tracking rainfall that nourish our crops. So in a way, space is already at our dinner tables, in our classrooms, and our hospitals. Before we start, a bit of housekeeping. I'd like to invite a representative from the CSIR to give us a brief safety moment before we start. Mr. Pretorius, please.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the CSIR International Convention Center. I'm VP Pretorius, SSHE Manager of the Center. Before you proceed, I'm just going to give you a couple of health protocols as well as evacuation protocols of the center. Kindly make use of the hand sanitizer stations located within the venues as well as the foyers as frequently as possible. Should you fall ill or require medical attention, kindly report to a reception area whereby a first aid facility as well as paramedics will be made available to you. In the unlikely event of an emergency, an alarm will sound throughout the building. Trained responders will give instructions on evacuation. Stay calm, take only belongings that you can carry. Walk in an orderly manner, do not run. Responders will lead you to an emergency exit, then to the assembly point. Restrooms are available throughout the building. Please look out for signage. As this is a public building, please do not leave your valuables unattended. Free wireless internet access is available throughout the building. Please select Free CSR ICC on your device. No password is required. For assistance, please call on any of our staff members who will contact a technician to provide support. Thank you and enjoy your session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pretorius. I'd like to welcome once again the SAAF choir, who are going to give us some light entertainment, but we're going to start with the national anthem. Thank you. Please stand. Thank you.
Mono
Thank you to our choir for that moving performance. I think it's another reminder that harmony and resilience often begin with collaboration, so many voices, one melody. Thank you very much. Our first speaker of the day needs very little introduction to many of us in the room. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the South African National Space Agency, Mr. Humbulani Mudau. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Mudau to the stage. Thank you.
Good morning.
Ndimacheloni. Bonjour. Sanbonani. Abshen. Goeiemorgen. Which other one did I leave? Tobela. Lochan. Thank you very much, Ms. Majola. I've been scanning. As you know, we are in the business of scanning the planet. And I see a lot of faces that, of course, some of you haven't seen in a while. But for those who do not know me, my name is Umbrani Mdau, and I work for the South African Space Agency, a proud entity of the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, which by the 9th of December this year will be turning 15 years. And we have a very important and a specific mandate, which is to coordinate and implement a national space program. Distinguished guests, it's an honor to welcome you today to our 3rd National Space Conference, an event of great significance taking place right here in Pretoria, a city where SANSA's headquarters are. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to you all for gracing this event, and I'm confident it will be worth your while. We are privileged today to be joined by a brand new DG, Director General of the Department of Science and Technology, Dr. Kele, and welcome to your 1st National Space Conference, but our 3rd National Space Conference. I would like also to acknowledge the presence of General Lieutenant Mbambo, the Chief of the Defense Force, my landlord, the CSIR CEO. For those who do not know, we're almost a year now at the CSIR, and welcome Dr. Tulani. We also have my colleague here that we've been working very hard in resuscitating again. We're resuscitating again the satellite build program. Mr. Tsepo Mnaheng, the CEO, the Group CEO of Denel. I would also like to welcome all distinguished delegates. I see Mr. Ndlovu, I see Dr. Mope, and all other industry experts that are here. This year's National Space Conference aims to stimulate conversation on how innovative solutions can solve the most pressing challenges of our time. These include climate change, energy transition, food security, and rapid urbanization, as well as rural development. This theme and conversation on these important topics could not have been more needed than now, where geopolitical shifts are changing the way in which the world is thinking about resilience in a volatile multilateral system. Space as a science, technology capability, an instrument of engineering advancement and social impact, has never been more important than now in our time as a society. Space applications powered by space assets have become ubiquitous, part of our daily lives, as Ms. Majola said, that we do not even realize how we have become so reliant on this capability for our economy, communications, and survival as humanity. Since the first landing on the moon, space capability is no longer only a scientific quest, but has become an essential part of our lives. We have become so reliant on space technology that to imagine a world without space would mean imagining a world without the following. The first, the ability for me to speak to my grandmother in the village. As the mobile communication systems we so rely upon rest on the backbone of our satellite GPS, to accurately enable the complex system to timelessly connect us. Secondly, being able to arrive at the right place for that important meeting as we click and navigate either the Google Maps, your Waze these days, and other applications to guide us to our destination. Thirdly, the ability to access our money from our banks that we so forget or do not realize that it needs a satellite communication to draw cash from the nearest ATM whilst we are at the petrol station. Fourthly, catching a flight and being in the comfort of the seat knowing that the pilot will get us home safely as he talks to the ground control while navigating the vast land of the African continent to ensure that we arrive safely at our destination. The fifth one, arrive home and not being able to watch our favorite broadcasted television program. The sixth one, receiving a desperate call for help from a family member and being able to respond to rescue them by locating their satellite positioning from their vehicle, tracker, or their mobiles. The seventh one, businesses that keep the engine of our economy running, relying on delivery of goods through a network of rail systems that trust on satellite technology for the train movement while crisscrossing towns through our ports. What's the context, colleagues? Is that as we were launching the Natural Resources Management Program last Friday, our theme was simply space meets the community. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the ordinary things we do on a daily basis without realizing that we rely on space technologies. I would like to say a world without space is a world in isolation. On this month of August, as we celebrate the advance of women, may we be reminded of the words of many courageous women that have contributed to the upliftment of our society. I am reminded of the words of Ms. Charlotte Maxeke to the presidential address on the National Council of Women 50 years ago, and I quote, "This work is not for yourselves. Kill that spirit of self, and do not live above your people, but live with them. If you can rise, bring someone with you." I closed. To this end, resilience is at the heart of this conference. And as we look at the space assets and applications, we have a big responsibility to society as scientists, as engineers, as professionals to lift our people. Live with them, bring science to the communities with a quest to improve lives and address the challenges that we face of unemployment, poverty, inequality, the challenges that have been defined by the United Nations on global change, pollution, loss of biodiversity, and we need to be working together in this whole. I just want to point out that as the South African National Space Agency, we would work with all of you and we remain committed to executing our mandate and to enable the achievement of the objective of creating the environment that is conducive to industrial development, advancing scientific, engineering, and technological competences in our country. We have a number of programs that we're working on, which, of course, in the next 3 days, you will hear the work that we're doing on the satellite build program, the deep space ground station that we're building in Markiesfontein to advance space exploration, the work that we're doing with Earth observation in building Earth intelligence to support decision-making, to support various sectors of our economy. That includes agriculture, insurance, mining, as well as strengthening our municipalities to deliver quality services to our people. We are excited that the department, as our shareholder, values the role of space as part of building the resilience for South Africa. To this end, the recently proclaimed mantra of the DSTI attests to this commitment by placing science, technology, innovation at the center of government, education, industry, and society. We are very deliberate in transforming the industry. We've invested in programs such as New Frontiers, program where you'll be hearing quite a lot during this conference, where there are companies that we're supporting. We're finalizing an agreement with the National Empowerment Fund to look at building a pipeline of black satellite engineering companies in this country so that we can ensure that we build a program that's inclusive, a program that creates opportunities across the entire country. In April, we did witness, colleagues, the launching of the long-awaited African Space Agency, which I believe that as South Africa, we have a huge role to play. We need to be asking ourselves during these 3 days, what role shall we occupy? How do we plan to mobilize other African member states to drive a unified African space agenda? And just looking ahead, I'm also honored to lead South Africa's efforts to elevate space as a G20 working group, a milestone that signals our country's growing role in the international stage. South Africa's G20 presidency is an opportunity to elevate Africa's priorities on the international agenda by ensuring African voices are represented and heard in the international global space arena and dialogues. I've taken this call seriously and have extended extra effort to bring our African brothers and sisters to the global table on matters related to space for the benefit of the people of Africa. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, while we focus on eradicating dependency, we need to be equally mindful that the global space economy is advancing at a rapid pace, demanding that we stay abreast to seize any opportunities it offers. The South African National Space Agency has established a robust global relationship that we can all leverage to enhance our current skills to excellence, ensuring that we remain committed to contributing to the government desired capable state stature. So I would like to welcome all of you, and I wish you all a fruitful 3 days, and officially welcome you to openly share your insights and reactions and make interventions that will assist in shaping the future of the South African space ecosystem to further advance our beloved continent. I thank you.
Thank you very much, CEO. Thank you, Mr. Mudau. And thank you for also reminding us that space is not a luxury but a necessity for development. And indeed, this National Space Conference is one of the ways in which we're placing science, technology, and innovation at the center of government, education, industry, and society. Our next speaker comes from the domain where air and space increasingly converge. Lieutenant General. My apologies. I would next like to call up our Director General from the Department of Science, Technology, and Innovation, Dr. Mlungi Sicele, who, under his leadership, the department is championing the mantra of placing science, technology, and innovation at the center of government, education, and society. DG. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Program Director, Yanda Mkondo. I've never felt so safe in South Africa. Of course, we'll greet the chief, but just walking ahead of the chief just made me feel like I'm the real chief of the force. Good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, partners, and friends. On behalf of the Department of Science, Technology, and Innovation, firstly, let me apologize on behalf of our Minister, Professor Nzimande, who's accompanying the President on a ticket trip to Japan. And our Deputy Minister, Dr. Kina, also has other commitments. So there's no leadership vacuum. Both of them have entrusted me to come and deliver the message on their behalf. The only thing they didn't do, is that they didn't give me all the powers. Otherwise, I'll be making you to stand. So it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 3rd National Space Conference here at CSIR under the theme Space for Societal Resilience, Transformation, and Intelligence. Indeed, it is a privilege to stand before such a diverse gathering of policymakers, scientists, innovators, defense leaders, entrepreneurs, educators, and students, all united by a shared commitment to the advancement of space, science, and technology for the benefit of society. Of course, allow me to acknowledge our esteemed speakers, the CEO of SANSA, Mr. Humbulani Mdau, the Lieutenant General Wiseman Mbambo Makez, the Chief of the South African Air Force, and the CEO of CSIR, Dr. Thulan Dlamini, as well as the CEO of DINEL. You are welcome. And then, of course, the South African Air Force Choir for their inspiring performance this morning. I realized that the tallest member of the group was made to stand in between the back line and the middle. Maybe it's strategic, so I wish I wish I could ask him how he's feeling, but I could see the baritone that was coming through. I could hear. So then I realized that he's really a serious member of the choir. So we're very pleased about the performance. We also wish to acknowledge the National Earth Observations and Space Secretariat, the SANSA officials, as well as board members of SANSA, the department's executive members, and the rest of the dignitaries and everyone present. And then, of course, we need to acknowledge the sponsors, Star Vision, MFTZN, and Simera Sense for their support. The women who have graced this event during this Women's Month are reminding us of the urgent need to advance transformation, representation, and women's leadership in space and technology. This year's National Space Conference, CEO, is taking place within the context of the world in transition and wider geopolitical shifts increasingly tilted towards science nationalism and strategic decoupling and recoupling, with increased trends towards the securitization of scientific collaboration in fields such as semiconductors, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, genomics, material sciences, and space science and technology research. International partnerships, once rooted to a large extent in an open and cooperative science norms, are now increasingly being framed in a narrow, security-led foreign policy terms linked to geopolitical rivalries. This moment of rupture, ladies and gentlemen, offers an opportunity to assert our strategic science, technology, and innovation sovereignty, not through isolation, but by leading scientifically, morally, and politically in forging a new global science order grounded in solidarity, mutual interdependence, and public good. This conference also occurs during our year of the G20 presidency under the theme Solidarity, Equality, Sustainability, with an emphasis on building partnerships across all sectors of society to realize the transformative process of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and SDGs, and thus ensuring that no one is left behind. The conference's overarching theme, Space for Societal Resilience, Transformation and Intelligence, is relevant in supporting our G20 theme, well as it seeks to address its three pillars, with its opening session focused on space for resilient and inclusive societies. We are of the view that these themes, they speak directly to the urgent need to harness space science, Earth observation, satellite technologies to strengthen our resilience in the face of climate change, natural disasters, and socio-economic challenges, while ensuring that the benefits of these technologies are accessible to all. The question that we must all ask, then answer during these 3 days, is how can space science and technology unlock innovative solutions to respond to the most pressing socio-economic development and sustainability challenges facing our country. Of course, these themes align to the strategic intent of our 2019 white paper on science, technology, and innovation and its implementation plan, colloquially known as the decadal plan. And these policies recognize, for instance, that Earth observation and space-based applications as strategic enablers for evidence-based decision-making, sustainable resource management, and socio-economic development. They call upon all of us to address the widening socio-economic and digital inequalities and improve the lives of all citizens, in our case, using space, science, and technology. Space capabilities are no longer a luxury. They are an essential part of how we monitor our environment, safeguard our national security, plan infrastructure, and manage resources, and respond to disasters and emergencies. From tracking agricultural conditions to improving disaster preparedness, from enabling smart cities, to monitoring our oceans, space-based technologies are transforming the way government services its citizens. Our department's mantra, placing science, technology, and innovation at the center of government, education, industry, and society is so relevant here because space is not an isolated field. It is a critical catalyst that links innovation across all sectors, thus driving inclusive and sustainable development and long-term resilience. Our department's programs are responding to this month. As we know, that we received the Space Infrastructure Hub funding to invest in our satellite program, upgrading existing facilities and build rocket engines and develop our indigenous launching capability. Building launch capability involves developing a comprehensive ecosystem encompassing rocket design and manufacturing, launch site infrastructure, mission planning, and regulatory frameworks. The SIH program supports major infrastructure development such as manufacturing remote sensing satellites, data infrastructure, and ground stations, thus enabling us to collect, process, and distribute space-based data for decision-making across sectors. It creates an ecosystem for skills development, industrial participation, and research, thus encouraging South Africa's role in the global space value chain. Our national space program, therefore, directly supports the UN's Agenda 2030 and the African Union Agenda 2063. In particular, the UN SDGs, the 2030 Agenda, notes that Earth observation satellites enable climate monitoring, agricultural optimization, water resource management, and disaster response, all of which are critical for sustainable development. As Africans, we said in our 2063 vision, the Africa we want, space capabilities underpin Africa's aspiration for industrialization, food security, knowledge economies, and continental connectivity. Through space and technology, South Africa is positioning itself not only to meet its own development goals, but also to contribute both to continental progress and global innovation. Our investments are focused on building critical infrastructure and technology systems that have both the immediate and long-term benefits for our country and the rest of the continent, including Earth observation satellites that can be used in agriculture, water, environmental management, telecommunication satellites to bridge the digital divide, expand broadband access and improve connectivity in remote areas, navigation and positioning systems to support smart cities, transport safety and logistics, space weather monitoring systems to safeguard national infrastructure such as power grid, aviation and communications, defense and security applications to strengthen our sovereignty and situational analysis. These technologies form the foundation of space-enabled economy that improves our lives daily, from precision farming that raises yields and food security to ocean monitoring that support our blue economy. Of course, the role of the private sector is critical in respect of growing and deepening our space economy. It is projected or estimated that globally, space economy, $1 trillion in decades. Therefore, as South Africa and the rest of the continent, this represents an extraordinary opportunity that if we work together and strategically and take a long-term perspective, we should then be able to exploit these opportunities. Because we know scientifically that space economy could potentially stimulate new industries, attract investment, and generate high-value jobs. Of course, it's one thing to say these things, colleagues, but it's another thing to demonstrate to our National Treasury colleagues who may not be as convinced as all of us in the room. And I therefore challenge all of us to help those who have to make your case to National Treasury by providing evidence-based information about how space economy exactly generates high-value jobs And we need to demonstrate that it is also capable of attracting investment, and it's also able of developing not just new industries, but transformed industries where women would also be represented. Downstream applications in agriculture, mining, health, finance, and urban planning translate into direct economic benefits for citizens. So to enable SMMEs and startups and innovators to participate in global value chains. So to the extent that private sector is central to unlocking these opportunities, government lays the foundation through policy and infrastructure, but it is the industry that commercializes technology and creates the necessary markets and upscales solutions. Therefore, this conference must ensure that we deepen our approaches to how we strengthen public-private partnerships, thus ensuring that space is a shared growth frontier. Colleagues, this conference is more than an event. It is a platform for forging partnerships, exchanging knowledge, and finding solutions that no single institution can achieve alone. Let us ensure that the space and science and technology deliver tangible benefits, first and foremost to its system, to the science and technology and innovation system, but most importantly to society in various ways, as we have indicated, whether it's food security, climate action, connectivity, and economic opportunities. Let us position South Africa and the rest of the continent as active participants in the global space economy, not merely as consumers, but creators of knowledge, technology, and opportunities. South Africa needs to work, Chief and CEOs. South Africa needs to work together. We need to work together to build an ecosystem. We need to improve coordination. We need to reduce competition and silos, especially in the public sector. Why we need to do that is because we need all of us to contribute towards building satellite constellations and launching capabilities. I encourage all of you to use this opportunity to share your expertise, challenge conventional thinking and worn-out paths, and collaborate on projects that aimed at strengthening South Africa's space ecosystem and expand our role in the global space community. As we begin this conference this morning, I invite you to engage fully in today's discussions and the rest of the conference activities. And following this session, I've been informed that we have exhibitions, which I really encourage all of you to join us. And there are also e-poster sessions and networking breaks that have been arranged. There you will see firsthand the innovative work being done across the space value chain. Thank you very much for your commitment to advancing our shared vision for a resilient, inclusive, and intelligent society through space, science, and innovation. I therefore wish you a productive and inspiring conference.
Thank you, DG, for framing the vision of the conference so powerfully. Your words call us to action to ensure that space delivers not only knowledge but tangible solutions for our society. Colleagues, we've shifted the program a little bit. I would now like to call up our hosts. At the CSIR, I'd like to call up Dr. Thulani Dlamini, the CEO of the CSIR. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Majola, our Program Director. Lieutenant General Mbambo, Chief of the South African Air Force, the Director General of the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Mlungi Sicele, the CEO of Denel Group, Mr. Tsepa Monaheng, the CEO of SANSA, Mr. Humbulani Mdau, members of boards of private and public institutions, leaders from business, academia, and other research organizations, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I would also like to extend a very warm word of welcome to all of you to the CSIR as we gather to engage and celebrate South Africa's growing capabilities in space science, Earth observation, and satellite-based technologies. I would also like to express my deepest gratitude to the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, the Department of Defense, the South African National Defense Force, for the visionary leadership and significant investments that you have made towards the development of the space sector within South Africa. Without your investments, we will not be seeing the progress that we are seeing today. Of course, as Dr. Cele and Mr. Mdau already indicated, the private sector has a big role to realize the potential that sits in this investment. Of course, working with other players in the public sector, including the CSIR. Allow me to share a reflection on the CSIR's role in advancing science, technology, and innovation to support the development of various sectors through space-enabled technologies. As many of you may know, the CSIR is turning 8 years this year in October. And for 8 decades, the organization has stood at the forefront of pioneering technologies and innovative solutions that have shaped South Africa's scientific and industrial landscape. Among our many contributions, space science stands out as a domain where our work has consistently advanced South Africa's security, economy, as well as the protection of our environment. To echo the comments of the previous speakers, space is not an abstract pursuit. It is a powerful, cross-cutting enabler of solutions to real-world problems, from monitoring our oceans and improving food security, to responding to disasters and safeguarding our borders. The CSIR has played a key role in establishing South Africa's space industry. Our founding president, Dr. Basil Schonland, established the Telecommunications Research Laboratory at the CSIR in 1946. This laboratory laid the foundation for the establishment of the electronics industry in South Africa. Included in this laboratory was the development of radar and electronic warfare capabilities. The CSIR began building expertise across a broad spectrum of space technologies, even then, including telemetry, tracking, command systems, Earth observation, data acquisition, image processing, and advanced remote sensing applications. In the 60s, the CSIR played a pivotal role in supporting NASA's Apollo program. RTPS was chosen as a site for tracking vehicles, marking South Africa's formal entry into satellite operations. The facility later became known as the CSIR's Satellite Application Center, which was dedicated to receiving, processing, archiving, and distributing Earth observation imagery, as well as tracking and controlling satellites in orbit. This center became a cornerstone of South Africa's space capability and a symbol of CSIR's commitment to space innovation. It earned global recognition for its accuracy and reliability in supporting space missions. It also established capabilities in acquisition, processing, and distribution of Earth observation data. RTPS now houses a priceless archive of remote sensing data dating back to 1972. This data has supported a wide range of practical and developmental applications benefiting communities both locally and across the continent. The CSIR Satellite Application Center, of course, no longer exists as a standalone entity. It became part of the South African National Space Agency in 2011, as most of you would know. In the 2000s, the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation, through both its 10-year innovation plan and the National Space Science and Technology Strategy, emphasized the need for South Africa to build a robust and effective space capability. One that advances knowledge, fosters discovery, drives economic growth, and strengthens national security. This vision was reaffirmed in the decadal plan that was published in 2022, which not only notes space as a priority area, but also highlights its strategic value, as already been indicated by Dr. Cele and Mr. Mdau. Over the years, our national system of innovation has steadily built the country's capability in this field, strengthening and expanding our research infrastructure to support a growing space sector. From agriculture and environmental monitoring to national security and infrastructure development, the CSR continues to demonstrate how space-enabled innovations can transform society and stimulate economic growth. In the agricultural sector, for instance, we have developed a precision agriculture information system which leverages satellite and drone data, climate modeling, and big data analytics to provide farmers with near real-time insights, empowering them to manage risks such as drought, pests, as well as crop disease. We are also developing synthetic aperture radar sensors for UAVs. These sensors provide high resolution, all-weather, day and night imaging, and as a result enhance surveillance, disaster response, and support precision agriculture. Our work in defense and national security includes radar and electronic warfare to support strategic operations across air, land, sea, and cyber domains. As a CSR, we also manage or lead a number of programs on behalf of the state, and these include the Global Monitoring for Environment and Security Initiative, the National Earth Observation and Space Secretariat, as well as the Aerospace Industry Support Initiative. While these are not exhaustive, I think these programs highlight the meaningful contribution that we have made and continue to make to support the development of a space industry in our country. In closing, this conference presents a unique platform to connect with partners from across the national system of innovation and to work together on advancing space industry in our country and, of course, in the continent. Through shared ideas, joint initiatives, we can drive progress and contribute to South Africa's national growth as well as development. Imagine, just imagine, if we could only achieve at least 50% of what we have set ourselves as goals through the conversation that we are going to have over the next 2.5 days. The impact that that will have in our country in terms of job creation, economic growth, and just turning around the face of our country into something that we have not imagined in the past. Together, let us ensure that our footprint in space is as bold as our dreams. Thank you very much, and once more, welcome to the CSIR.
Thank you, Dr. Dlamini, for those inspiring words. The CSIR continues to show us that space technology is not abstract, but it is applied science with impact on the ground. I would like to now call up our next speaker, who comes from a domain where air and space increasingly converge. Lieutenant General Wiseman Mbambo, the Chief of the South African Air Force, has been a strong advocate for integrating space capabilities into national security and resilience. General Mbambo, I welcome you for the address. Thank you.
Dr. Mlungisi Cele, DG DSTI, Dr. Mboneni Mofe, DDG DSTI, Dr. Tulani Dlamini, the CEO of CSIR, Mr. Oti Munaheng, the CEO of Denel, Mr. Umbelan Mudau, the CEO of SANSA, Dr. Kenny Tenza, Acting DDG, DSTI, Dr. Kevin Naidu, Group Executive CSIR, Dr. Noel Mkaza, Group Executive AMSCO, Dr. Sandile Ndlovu, the Chairperson of AMD, members of the MCC, members of the AFCC, generals, admirals, senior and junior officers, non-commissioned officers, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, fellow defense professionals, scientists, technologists, and partners in national development, a very good morning to all of you. Looks like I said something wrong. A very good morning to all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is both an honor and a strategic imperative for me to address you today at the opening of the 3rd Annual National Space Conference on a matter that demands our collective vision, ingenuity, and decisiveness, the harnessing of space for national security, strategic sovereignty, and societal stability. In the present day, wherein our societies are a witness to the growing gap between the rich and the poor, those who throw food in the dustbin and those who feed from the dustbin, our society requires access to instruments and mechanisms for resilience. As we gather here today, we regard space as a relevant mechanism to provide our ailing society with resilience, transform it for the better, and bequeath our societies with intelligence through which they can survive today, craft their future, and defend the gains for the next generations. As the Chief of the South African Air Force, I come before you not merely as a military officer, but as a custodian of our nation's air and space domain. The domain of space, once considered the final frontier, is now our immediate concern. It is no longer the exclusive realm of the superpowers of the world or private billionaires. Today, space is a contested, congested, and increasingly competitive environment, one that African states can no longer afford to observe passively from the ground. The car industry and aviation sector were once considered a highly exclusive club, only accessible to the very few from our societies. But today, that gap is getting narrower. The noble, bigger, and ultimate objective of the African space vision should be to make it accessible and affordable for the African child to interact with space at diverse levels with ease. Why space matters for national security? Let us begin with the national security. Threats to national, regional,
continental and global security are increasing and transcending beyond traditional borders of land, sea, and air. Climate change and all that happens from space, directly or indirectly, impacts our communities, from combat to non-combat intimidations. Today, we can not any longer ignore anything that happens or does not happen in space, because space is inextricably linked to our world ecosystem. Space-based assets are now deeply integrated into full spectrum of defense operations, from early warning systems and missile detection to surveillance, border control, and secure communications. In modern warfare and peacetime, deterrence alike, the ability to monitor, predict, and respond to all types of threats is directly linked to our space situational awareness. South Africa, like many emerging space states, must ensure that its military and civil agencies have timeless access to satellite imagery, positioning systems, and encrypted communication infrastructure without hindrances. In the scenario of a highly unstable geopolitical global security landscape, too much reliance on foreign critical space-based infrastructure is a recipe for a predetermined defeat and failure. Space prowess is not a luxury. It is a national security necessity. Through the development of sovereign space capabilities, including our indigenous launch capability, satellite constellations, and data interpretation centers, we are strengthening the integrity of our defense systems. Maintaining an advantage on the international stage and strengthening national security are two more benefits of having access to crucial intelligence. We are moving from dependence to self-reliance, from surveillance to foresight, and ultimately, space freedom and independence. Strategic sovereignty in the era of space power. Let me be clear. Space is now a theater of geopolitical contestation. Those who control data, orbits, and downstream technologies will inevitably shape the economic and security destinies of others. Transformation of data into a strategic resource is unparalleled in the conflict spectrum of today. Unlike traditional military assets, data, which academics have coined the new soil, is intangible, easily replicable, and can be transmitted across borders in seconds. It is used by nations to keep tabs on other states' actions. Sensitive information that would otherwise be kept secret can be gathered through cyber espionage, enabling a nation to influence other governments' decisions or sow discord amongst its competitors. Data weaponization, also known as cyberspace warfare, is further enhanced through space-based capabilities. Strategic sovereignty, therefore, is about ensuring that South Africa, and by extension, Africa, does not become a passive consumer of other nations' capabilities, or worse, a battleground for their rivalries. Instead, we must cultivate our own space industrial base, anchored in our scientific institutions, our defense innovation ecosystem, and our continental partnerships. The South African National Space Agency, SANSA, has already laid critical groundwork
in Earth observations and research, but the role of the South African Air Force must now evolve. Our extended absence without official leave, AWOL, in space domain has now ended. As the South African National Defence Force, we cannot outsource our primary mandate to safeguard the integrity, sovereignty, and independence of South Africa's land, sea, air, and space, and the resources therein, and simultaneously showing similar respect for other countries, especially in the sub-region. We must prepare to become both users and protectors of space-based infrastructure. To this end, we are reviewing our doctrine with the publication last year of the Joint Air and Space Power Doctrine. We are developing an additional force design to cater for Space Command Section and have already established partnerships both within government and with industry to reflect on the emergence of the space domain as a core strategic area. The time has come for the acceleration of the establishment of a dedicated space command, not for militarization, but for coordination, readiness, and resilience. The spirit of innovation prevalent in the South African Air Force shall remain pivotal in propelling quick wins in this regard. Society stability through space-enabled development. But let me caution, space is not only about satellites and strategy, it is also about people. The same space systems that enable missile tracking also enable disaster response, food security, water management, and urban planning. When we harness space technology for civilian purposes, such as monitoring crop health, predicting floods, or improving telecommunications, we are in fact building societal stability from the ground up and from above to below. The interconnectedness of our capabilities from below and above has the potential to break new frontiers and provide a wealth of opportunities for our communities. The level of commercial activity in space will continue to increase as established and emerging companies offer goods, services, and space-inspired technologies that fuel space operations, enrich supply chains, and add value to people's lives. Using the lessons learned in the extreme operating environments of space, the space industry has and will continue to pioneer world-changing innovations that moves us forward and help us to meet our greatest challenges. A society is fed, informed, connected, is a society that resists radicalization, withstands shocks, and contributes to national resilience. Thus, the benefits of space must be democratized, reaching our rural communities, our educational institutions, and our next generation of scientists and engineers. This is how we build a truly intelligent society, not one defined by digital access alone, but by sovereignty of thought, capability, and direction. Regional and continental imperatives. This is not South Africa's mission alone. The African Union's African Space Policy and Strategy, adopted in 2016, provides a framework for regional cooperation in space affairs. It envisions a continent where space, science, and technology drive sustainable development and security. As South Africa, we must lead not with dominance, but with partnership. We must deepen our collaboration with SADC states, with Pan-African institutions, and with strategic allies who respect our vision of non-weaponized, developmental, and secure space. In this context, Our Air Force and broader defense sector will act as enablers of continental peace and technological empowerment. We must train together, build together, and secure the high frontier together. The road ahead, from vision to implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, our task now is not simply to articulate the vision. It is to implement it with speed, precision, and resolve. We must invest in dual-use infrastructure that serves both military and civilian needs. We must revise our legal and policy frameworks to enable agile space partnerships. We must allocate resources not only for procurement, but for the development of indigenous talent. Above all, we must shift our national mindset from being space consumers to becoming space contributors. The South African Air Force of tomorrow will not only defend our skies, it will safeguard our orbits, manage our space assets, and work hand in hand with industry, academia, and civil society to build a future anchored in resilience and intelligence. We subscribe to this dictum, open quote, the best way to predict the future is to create it, close quote. In our journey towards that desired future, collaboration with other like-minded space entities is indispensable. Again, space is no longer an abstract ideal or a distant aspiration. It is our next battlefield, our next laboratory, and our next development frontier. Let nobody with space passion be left behind. And indeed, let us not wait for others to chart our path. Let us lead boldly, ethically, strategically. And the quotation is true. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. I thank you. And on that note, let me, on behalf of DSTI and the Department of Defense, declare this conference now open. Thank you. I would like to get to the opportunity now of handing some token of appreciation for some few people around here. First, I will start with the Honorable Dr. Cele to come up to receive a token of appreciation, followed by the CEO of CSIR, Dr. Dlamini, and also CEO from SANSA. In that order, please.
Thank you very much, Lieutenant General. Your call for strategic preparedness highlights why South Africa must strengthen both our air and space domains in tandem. I would now like to call all of us, all of you distinguished delegates, to join us in taking a group photo. We're going to take it from the auditorium here, so just prepare your biggest smile, and the photographers are going to come on stage and take the picture. I cannot see them, but I believe they, please come up on stage. I don't know. So if there's space in the middle, please do come together, but I think it's full, so we need the wide length. Okay. Okay, all right. Colleagues, may we please stand so that we can see how the picture is going to look. I think it's better this way than trying to stand in front of the building. You can direct us. You can then direct us. Stand and look at us. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. We need to make the picture a bit smaller, like Contensio a bit. So we're going to ask you to, if you are able to, just move forward into any open chair that you see in front of you. You are quite a wide crowd, and yeah, it is what it is. So if you can, please.
Okay. Thank you. Nothing's wrong. Just look at it.
We are nearly done. I'd like to welcome you all to join us in the exhibition hall. There's some exhibitions. There's also e-posters there. And please, welcome to the conference. Thank you.
times. Let's do it now.